Hi there, this is Chris with LaunchCode, and in the last video, we built the view and controller code that allow us to relate tags to events. In other words, we can tag an event and have that many-to-many relationship persisted in the database now. However, we can't yet view the tags that are on a given event. So that's what we're going to enable in this video. So what we want to do as an end result of this is we want to be able to go into the detail view or navigate to the detail view for an event. That's something we set up a few lessons ago. And in that event detail view, we want to see a list of tags that are applied to that event. So to start off, since we're going to be working with the detail view, let's go to the events controller. That's where the detail view lives. It is near the bottom here. And so currently this detail view just queries, it takes in an ID, and then it uses that ID to query our DB context or query the database to find the event with that ID. And then it passes that to the view model, and the view model then renders the details for that event. So something else we're going to have to do in this particular case is we're going to have to pass in the tags that are associated with an event. And in other words, we're going to want to query the database for all of the event tag records that correspond to the event with this specific ID. Remember, event tags are our join class. They're the ones that keep track of relationships between events and tags. So let's set up a query that does just that. So I'm going to have a list of event tags as my result. And I'm going to want to query context.event tags. And this is going to be a little bit of a complicated query compared to what we've done in the past. So the first thing I want to do is I want to find only the event tags that have the ID that was passed into my action method. So I'm going to say where, and remember we put a lambda expression here, and so the argument for the lambda expression is always an instance of this collection, the DB set that contains event tags, and we're going to say that we want to filter out everything except for things where the event ID matches the ID that was passed into the method. Okay, so that'll get us down to only the set of event tag objects that correspond to our specific event. Now, we talked previously about lazy loading versus eager loading. I'm going to want to see the actual tag objects that correspond to these. In other words, the event tag class, if I can just, here we go. The event tag class has these properties, right? Events and tag are references. In other words, their data is stored in other tables other than the event tag table. If I actually want to see, for example, the name of the tag, I have to eagerly load the tag references that are associated with an event tag. So I need to say .include event tag .tag. So that'll say include the tag properties of each of these event tag objects, and then I want to turn that into a list. Okay, so to reiterate, this establishes a new collection of event tags queried from our DB context where the only event tag objects that are returned are those whose event ID property matches our ID property in our action method. And we're also saying that we want to eager load the tag references for those event tags. So that'll allow us to list the names of each of the tags associated with this event. And then I need to pass this into my action or my view model. Okay, now currently this view model does not actually support this level of controller or this type of controller, right? So we're going to have to modify the controller as well. So what I want to do here is I'm going to essentially I want to modify this constructor so it takes a list of event tags. Okay, and what do we want to do with these? I could just kind of pass these on to the view, and then the view would have to kind of figure out how to display them. I'm going to do something a little bit different here, and I'm going to add a new property to this. It's a string property. I'm going to call it tag text. And this tag text is going to be sort of a display version of the text for the collection of tags. So I'm going to build this up in my constructor. So first I'm going to initialize tag text there we go, to be the empty string. And then I want to say for var I equals 0, using an old school for loop here, I less than event tags dot count I plus plus. And essentially what I want to do is create a comma-separated collection of tag names. And so let's say for each of these, I want to say tag text plus equals, and we'll say event tags bracket I dot tag dot name. Remember that this is an event tag. I have to get the tag property off of it, and then I want to get the name. So I'm just appending the name of each tag to each of these things. Now, this is a little sloppy. Let's look at what we can do to make this a little bit nicer. I can say, for example, I can say plus. That will add a comma after each tag name followed by a space, so you'll get like a comma separated collection of tag names. There are a couple improvements I can make to this, though, still yet. So let's see. One is that this comma space will even get appended to the last one in the list. So if we have a list of 5 tags, the last one, the 5th one, will have a comma after it with nothing following it. So that's not too cool. Let's take this out. And this is actually why I used an old school for loop, because I was anticipating doing this. Very clever, you see. And we're going to say if we're not at the end of our collection, then I want to say tag text. Plus equals this comma formatting. Oops, missed the 1. So we're going to say if, remember I is a 0-based index. Ooh, geez, there we go. I is a 0-based index and count is a 1-based count. So we want to say as long as we're not at the end of our collection of event tags, let's go ahead and add a comma. Okay, one more little formatting thing that I'll do here is I will add, since this is kind of the common way you see them displayed out in the wild, I'll add a little pound sign or hash mark. And that'll sort of prepend each of the tag names with a comma. Okay, so what did we do? We took a collection of event tags in here that were related to our given event. We used that collection to build up a display string. That display string will get passed into the view. We're not doing anything with it yet. Let's go take care of that now. So we'll go to our events detail view. And what I want to do here is just create a new column that will allow us to display that tag text string. Okay, great, and that should do the trick. Now there's one more thing I want to do before we test this out, which is that in the interest of making this thing nice and user-friendly, it would be nice if the user had an easy way to add a tag to an event. Right now they have to go type in a specific URL. So this seems like as good of a place of any as to provide a link to that. So let's go ahead and add a link that will allow the user to add a tag. So we'll just say add tag. This is in the event details view. Recall that the sort of format for the URL to add a tag to an event is /tag /add event /ID of the event. So we need to use these ASP helper attributes to generate the proper link there. So I'm going to link to the tag controller into the add event action. And then I need to make sure that the ID is set on that URL. So I will say that that is equal to @model.eventID. Actually, that might not be correct. Let's see, event detail view model. Yeah, so I'm going to have to add, currently I don't have the event ID here, so I'm going to need to add that. So let's say and then I need to populate it here. Okay, so now if we go back to our view, okay, great, that error went away. So just again, another benefit of compile time checking in your templates when you're using the model property of a view. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and test this out. And once this gets started up, we should be able to go to the main event listing, click through to an event details view, and see This guy. See, one mistake here. This is bold. I made that a TH instead of a TD. Let's go ahead and fix that. TD. Oh, there we go. So that'll, next time I restart, that'll be unbolded. Let's go ahead and just try to add a tag to this event and see what happens. So we'll add Java. That looks good enough. Now we have JavaScript. Let's add one more tag. The only one we have left is C#. And there we go. So pretty nifty. Cool. So a couple more things to do. One is that the way this code is currently written, the add tag or add event controller code in our tag controller, we're going to see an error when we try to add a tag twice. We're going to take care of that in the next video, and then we've got some more sort of UI tweaks in the final video after that.